Another brilliant result for you at the weekend. Dominant, class. But the question is, are you going to hold off Man City in a home straight, brother?
I've got about 10 minutes left, by the way.
No worries.
Yeah. Are we going to hold off? Yes, I think we will. They're still in the Champions League. I do think they'll beat Bayern Munich. They're still in the FA Cup. They're going to get to the final. They're going to beat Sheffield United. They're 8 points clear. 8 points behind us. When we come back from international duty, obviously we know Erling Haaland will be fit. We know that. But they have they have Liverpool at the Etihad. We just have to hope that they drop points there because we got Leeds United, and I don't care what anyone tells me, we are beating Leeds United. So if they don't win against Liverpool, and then we go to Anfield the following week and get something, that's the end of that for me. I think it'd be done. They won't give up, obviously, Man City. We've seen enough of that over the years. We know they can chase and put the pressure on. I just don't see us not winning it. Right, if you look at our fixtures, we've got West Ham away. Well, we've not conceded a goal in any London derby this season away. I think Southampton at home, we'll beat them. We've got Leeds at home, we're going to beat them. We've got Brighton at home, as good as Brighton are. I think we'll beat them. We've got Newcastle away. They could still be fighting for top four at that point, but I don't see how we're losing that game. They don't score enough goals. Liverpool, cool. We haven't won at Anfield for a long time. The thing with that Liverpool game is they've got to play City, then they've got a midweek game against Chelsea, and then they've got us. By the time they play us, that's 3 games in a week against 3 big teams. They ain't going to win all 3 of them. So I'm kind of hoping that they win the first one, and then I don't care what they do against Chelsea because I think we'll get something there. And then we've got Man City. We've also got Wolves last day of the season. Who else we got? We've got someone else. Can't remember. I think Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest away, I think it is. If you look at all them teams, I don't really see where we drop points, Terry. The only place I see us losing any points is Man City and Liverpool. Other than that, we've got Chelsea at home as well. Well, come on, let's be real. We'll beat them. So, yeah, I don't see us dropping many points. I think we'll lose one more game this season, either Liverpool or City. But I don't think it'll be Liverpool. I think if we're going to lose, it probably will be City. But I think we'll be so far clear by the time we play them, it won't really knock us off our perch a little bit. I think we'll still be quite clear by then. I know they've got a game in hand as well, which is West Ham as well, but I just don't see it. We're playing well. Saliba being out for a while is a bit of a problem. But having said that, we don't know exactly how long he's out for yet. There's talk it's 6 weeks. It could be 16 days. Who knows? Like, it could be 6 months with Arsenal. We never know, do we? You know, we had this with Trossard. He's going to be out for weeks, and he started the next game. So, yeah, I don't know, man. Jesus back. He's looking sharp when he's been on the pitch. Martinelli's in fine form, 13 league goals. Saka just keeps scoring and assisting. Like, even though at the game at the weekend, I thought the first 25 minutes, I thought we were shocking. And I was like, here we go again, Sporting Lisbon all over again. And then after that Martinelli goal, we absolutely battered them, mate. Like, that was quality. Like, and then Fulham game before that battered them. Like, the international break for me has come at the right time now. I can't lie, because I think that, you know, we are sloppy on set pieces. I think corners we need to work on big time, and hopefully we can maybe do a couple of little behind closed doors friendlies in this next couple of weeks. Yeah, and just keep the level up a little bit, but work on certain things that we haven't been able to do necessarily with games every 3 days. So, yeah, I think we'll win it. I still think we'll win it, mate.
Yeah, I agree. Arsenal are still my favourites. Of course, City can never be completely and utterly written off. And that would be stupid to write City off because they're such a brilliant team. Haaland pulling out of international duty was a dot on the cards to happen, because I think without him, if he picks up an injury, if he misses a month, I don't think they can win the league. They're already 8 points behind, and I know they have a game in hand, but this is where Terry, Mr. Unbiased, comes out. Go back to what I said last year, year before, year after, before that. Points on the board are worth more than games in hand because you've got them. And the fact that Haaland's pulled out means they're going to come back. They're going to have him fresh. And that game against Liverpool is so massive. It's so massive because if they are to drop any points, say they draw that game and you beat Leeds, you're then 10 points clear. Yes, they still have that game in hand, but the margin for error gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and that pressure builds up.
And the further they go in the Champions League as well, Yeah, and
Of course,
they've got a route to the final. Real Madrid have not been great this season.
And they're fighting, and they're fighting on all three fronts. They're going. This is what's got. What I think's been a little disrespectful from the media this year about City, because we've spoke about it for a couple of weeks now. City are playing for it. They're fighting for a treble. They're fighting to equal the single greatest individual achievement of a team ever in one season. That's winning 3 trophies and the 3 biggest trophies possible. They're aiming to equal what Man United did in 1999. That is so hard to do. The fact that Man United, the reason why that achievement is so high is because the margin for error is minuscule. You can't, if we've gone out of the FA Cup earlier, the Champions League earlier, Man United would have maybe won the league with a lot more points. I always remember that season. Oh, United only got like high 70s. Yeah, smaller 79 points, but those days, much smaller squads playing the same amount of games, it was extremely intense, and that's what makes it such a great achievement. So City are fighting on all fronts, and they shouldn't be written off at any point, but I still just see Arsenal having enough to do it. And the last 2 performances, they've almost been a bit of a finger in the eye to all of the naysayers. Oh, Arsenal not playing well enough. They're conceding too much. They've not been the same dominant Arsenal that we saw at the beginning of the season. And it's almost like they've listened. It's almost like that Gary Neville's been played to them in the dressing room, and they're going, all right, we'll show you. Now, I don't think they've done that.
To be fair, it's the same for City as well, because a lot of people have been saying City ain't been great this season and this and that. They're pretty much there or thereabouts their average points tally at this stage of a season. And they've, I think in the last 10 games they're unbeaten and they've only conceded 6. And they're bagging goals for fun. I think they've scored 30 odd goals in them 10 games.
Mate,
back to back 6s and 7s. I mean, it's just a joke.
Mate, I think they've done brilliant in the last 2 games. Just in the Premier League, still the Palace game, they're just struggling. Just in the Premier League, they've had their struggles, and it's just why I put. Listen, I'm not saying City can't do it. Of course, they can beat you to this league title. I just don't think fighting on all 3 fronts with the levels they've got to performance-wise this year, they're gonna quite have enough. I think the reason they've maintained their average points level is because of the sheer individual brilliance they have in their team, and the main guy being Haaland. The amount of goals he has scored this season is what has kept them in this race. And I think most City fans, when they're being honest, would say for the majority of this campaign, they haven't quite been themselves. A lot of people have been saying now since the return of football in December, they will click into gear and be the City we all know and remember. The last 2 games in the FA Cup and the Champions League, they have done that. It remains to be seen whether they can do that in the Premier League. That's why this Liverpool game is so
it's
important.
The early kickoff as well, which means by the time that's done, we know what we need to do.
Exactly.
Well, we have to win anyway, but we'll know whether they've caught us up a bit or whether they've dropped points. The thing is, if they beat Bayern, the second leg is on the 19th of April. I think they then play Sheffield United on the 23rd, and then they've got us on the 26th. That's a luck for them, really. Well, it's not luck because they've got to that point of the competition, but they can put a few reserves out in that game. So then their main players will have that whole week from Bayern's second leg to Arsenal at the Etihad.
But it all depends on the results.
If we do end up getting something out of that game at the Etihad and they're in a semi-final against Madrid or Chelsea, all of a sudden we might be 5, 6, 7 points clear still. With 5, 6 games to go, they might just go solid. We'll go Champions League all out.
But this is why the margin for error is so low. If they drop point in before the Champions League and Premier League run-ins overlap, which is on its way, if they drop any points before that, they can't rotate at any point. Yeah, because they can't afford to drop points. If you guys lose against Leeds and they beat Liverpool, they then have the option to we can maybe play a weaker team here because we've got the game at the Etihad to overtake them and obviously win our game in hand. If they drop any points, it's crazy. And I'm just excited to watch it. I'm still sticking with my original prediction. Well, I'm not. My original prediction was Liverpool. I'm still sticking with my revised prediction that Arsenal will win the league. But I do want to say,
flip-flop, mate.
Yeah. I gave up on. Yeah, I still believe Liverpool are winning it. Actually, is what I think. I think for me, I kind of look at it along the lines of. I want to say this to City fans. I'm not writing you off as in
you can't write them off. It's too good.
I'm not saying you cannot do it. I'm just saying I think Arsenal will.
There's 30 points. Well, they've got 33 points to play for. We've got 30.